Welcome to CBS This Morning, and that's where we begin. As you wake up, this Democratic presidential race is now a close two-man contest after Super Tuesday last night. Former Vice President Joe Biden won 9 of yesterday's 14 state primaries, completing a remarkable turnaround from just 1 week ago. Remember that? His biggest upset came in Texas, where he overcame the former frontrunner, Senator Bernie Sanders. Former Mayor Mike Bloomberg and Senator Elizabeth Warren finished far behind. Biden also came from behind and went Minnesota and Massachusetts, while he swept all the primaries in southern states.
Sanders did win 3 primaries, and he's in a strong position in the biggest state of all, California. But this morning, he is trailing Biden in the delegate race, though many of the delegates from yesterday's races have not been allocated yet. Ed O'Keefe is covering Campaign 2020. Ed, how much did Super Tuesday change the race? What an incredible night.
Oh, Anthony, incredible is certainly one way to put it. Look, Joe Biden wakes up today in a far stronger position than anyone would have thought just a few days ago. But Senator Sanders by no means is out of this. The state with the biggest delegate haul of the night, California, is leaning towards him. Look at this, 33% for Bernie Sanders, 24% for Joe Biden, only 51% of the vote in. They're going to keep counting in the Golden State. With Biden's substantial wins across the rest of the country, California's large delegate count might not prove to be a safety net. The safety net that Bernie Sanders was looking for.
So I'm here to report we are very much alive.
Super Tuesday jolted former Vice President Joe Biden's presidential campaign back to life as he swept victories from New England to the South and the Midwest.
Those who've been knocked down, counted out, left behind, this is your campaign.
Biden even won in Texas, despite being outspent by Senator Bernie Sanders by millions. Given the spread of support, Sanders will still pick up many of the Lone Star State's delegates.
You cannot beat Trump with the same old kind of politics.
Nearly half of the voters who made up their minds in the last few days voted for Biden, signaling that his Saturday win in South Carolina and the endorsements from former rivals could have made the difference.
What we need is a new politics that brings working class people into our political movement, which brings young people into our political movement, and which in November will create the highest voter turnout in American political history.
But that increased turnout last night actually came in states that Biden won. For example, in Virginia, turnout jumped by more than 500,000 votes from the 2016 Democratic primary.
The turnout's turned out for us.
While Biden continued to lead among African Americans and voters 45 years and over, Sanders earned more support from Latinos and voters under the age of 45.
We are putting together an unprecedented grassroots, multi-generational, multiracial movement.
The numbers didn't look good for Senator Elizabeth Warren, who finished third behind Biden and Sanders in her home state of Massachusetts.
I'm in this race because I believe I will make the best president of the United States.
Former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg skipped the early primaries to concentrate on the Super Tuesday states, spending more than $230 million of his own dollars on advertising there. But it didn't pay off. He came up short in states like North Carolina and Virginia, and only won the U.S. territory of American Samoa.
In just 3 months, we've gone from 1% of the polls to being a contender for the Democratic nomination for president.
As for what's next, Bloomberg is back in New York today, and his campaign manager said they'll reassess going forward. But as of now, they're committed to staying in the race. Same from Senator Elizabeth Warren. Tony, could still be a busy day.
All right, Ed, thank you very much. As always, the numbers tell the story, so let's dig a little bit deeper into those numbers with CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, good morning.
Morning.
Long night for you.
Indeed.
Let's talk about 2 of the states where the results have not come in. We haven't made a call yet. That is California and Maine. How are they looking?
Maine very close. California is leaning to Bernie Sanders. He has got the most delegates that we've allocated out of there so far, but I still think there's about 2 million mail ballots left to come in. We'll see what happens, but he is going to get more delegates.
It's remarkable that it's even close in California right now.
Yeah,
a lot of people thought Bernie Sanders was going to run away with it. So Joe Biden, big night for him. How did he pull it off?
And were you even surprised, Anthony? I sat there watching as the numbers came in going, what is happening?
Haven't seen anything like it. When we look
Sound
at
like
those,
Bob Schieffer.
Is there a Channel Bob there?
Yeah.
But look, when we saw those exit polls, the first thing we noticed was the late deciders, people who told us that they made up their minds who to vote for in the last couple of days. Now, that's after Buttigieg and Klobuchar had dropped out and endorsed Joe Biden. Well, all those folks, sometimes up to half the electorate in places like Virginia, they all switched to Joe Biden. So he took that support, plus he got strong support from the African-American vote and support from people who thought he could beat Donald Trump. And that just really pushed him into.
It was like two different elections, in effect, because you had the early voters on the one hand and then the people who decided in the last couple of days.
That's right. That's right. And so what you saw was in places where they cast a lot of mail ballots, like in California, like in Texas, you might have expected Bernie Sanders to do okay. But then those same-day voters, the ones who turned out last night, yesterday, all for Joe Biden.
Did people's perception of Joe Biden change? I had people saying, I'm still in line and I'm still trying to decide. Is that what happened?
He still has high favorables. He did have high favorables. But the biggest thing is people decided that they wanted somebody they could beat Donald Trump even more than someone who agreed with them on the issues.
Wow. Quickly, next week, what are we looking towards?
Next week, I think the big play is to Michigan. That's probably where they'll go. It's a battleground state. They'll try to argue that that's where they can turn out Democrats and maybe look forward to November.
And we'll do this all again then.
Indeed.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony.